Wes-tone here. In this video, we're going to take a look at altcoin season through the wealth cycle's perspective. Today is October 29th, 2024. Let's get into the charts. So we're going to start by clarifying the signal to noise ratio by doing our simple moving average, which is 1/4 of the wavelength offset by 1/8 of the wavelength, and the wavelength here happens to be almost exactly 4 years. Slightly longer in this particular wavelength, but this moving average will get us close enough. So we've got some pretty clear cycles here with pretty clear trend, and then I've just taken and clarified that signal even more and extended it out into the future. One thing to note here is it looks like we're seeing decreasing volatility with each consecutive cycle. This most recent trough here was pretty volatile, but it held the cycle very closely actually. And this particular cycle that we're in now has held the cycle even more closely until now. We're kind of veering off here into no man's land in what seems to be an altcoin capitulation. These are the kind of opportunities we want to look for because we can see a pretty aggressive slingshot effect as our short-term divergence is moving in the opposite direction of our fundamental cycle. So this tells us that altcoin season is, well, any day now by the looks of it. But let's look at a few other charts. This chart here is similar to Bitcoin dominance, but we remove Ethereum and Tether from the altcoin market. So it gives us a similar picture as Bitcoin dominance, but a little bit different. If we extend this low out to here, we're looking at spring of 2026 as the Bitcoin dominance low. That's not to say we can't hit a nominal low before that, potentially as soon as summer of 2025, fall 2025, that's probably when we'll hit our first low. In this particular chart, we don't have quite the extension on this move here. We haven't diverged quite as far, but a similar thing appears to be happening here. We had a little bit of underperformance here. Now we're experiencing a little bit of overperformance. And we generally always have to conserve that energy. So if we push here, we're going to pop out here. This chart also looks like we're on the precipice of altcoin season, which is not surprising because it's not that different of a chart. Another chart I like to look at is the others chart. This is the market cap, the total market cap minus the top 10 cryptocurrencies. So then what we can do is take others and divide it by Bitcoin. So this is total market cap minus the top 10 cryptocurrencies by market cap divided by Bitcoin market cap. Again, we have almost, well, exactly 4-year cycle here from trough to trough. We have a slightly shortened cycle from peak to peak. There's some evidence to suggest that this peak here came a little bit earlier than might have been, quote, ideal if 4 years is considered ideal. All right, so we're going to measure from here to here, 208 bars, and you can see that we are already past the ideal trough. And I'll just add some sort of trend lines here and the ideal market cycle. So by the looks of it here on this trough, we had an early nominal low followed by a bounce here during the cyclical low, and somewhat of a double bottom happening here late in the trough. This chart would also suggest that we're essentially at rock bottom. We are actually at all-time lows for this market cycle here. I mean, if the bottom drops out here, we could see another wick down, but that would be extreme and probably a good place to start getting in if you haven't already. It's possible we also hold here, and like I said, it looks like altcoin season could be starting any day now. This chart here is others divided by the top 10 cryptocurrencies by market cap. So it's total market cap minus the top 10 by market cap divided by the top 10 by market cap. Very similar to the previous chart. Got a little bit more of an upward slope here on this trough. From here to here, 208 would put us here, and it looks like we're well past the 4-year market cycle. This particular chart looks like altcoin season is even closer. Go straight up here. Looks like we're already almost halfway up the upward swing on this cycle, but we're still way down here. So we have these are the kind of moves we want to look for, where we have a nominal divergence from the cyclical trend, because these are the most aggressive moves. Again, you have to think of the cycle wavelength as essentially having a magnetic path that the price is following. This chart here would also suggest altcoin season being right around the corner. I just want to appreciate the ability to clarify the signal to noise ratio, because this chart, I mean, just by looking at it, if I'm looking for cycles, I can kind of see them. But if I'm not really thinking about cycles, it might be rather difficult to determine. That's where this simple moving average really clarifies the fundamental signal and allows us to extrapolate trends based on that, rather than trying to, read through the noise. Again, I said this in the last video, but we can use these short-term divergences as short-term opportunities only if we really can understand the fundamental signal and where we are in the cycle. Like right now, looks to be an excellent example for fading out of Bitcoin and into altcoins. So if we just take a look at Bitcoin here, Bitcoin is sitting very much at the tippy top, where it had previously hit $72,000. If and or when Bitcoin breaks this, Bitcoin could shoot up rather quickly. As you can see, our price is actually below the cycle trend here as well. So there's that extra benefit, which is most likely going to pull Bitcoin up and out into a breakout into all-time highs. If that happens, that's going to send, you can see what's happening here on our Bitcoin dominance, that's going to send this ratio here into extreme territory. I think altcoins are going to follow very shortly after that once Bitcoin breaks out, which will probably mark the capitulation low of altcoins relative to Bitcoin and mark the start of the altcoin season. Another interesting thing to note is that it seems like our cycle is trending downward over time, which means altcoins are making up a larger share of the total market cap relative to Bitcoin over time. That appears to be true on this chart. That appears to be true on the Bitcoin dominance chart. That appears to be true on the others Bitcoin chart. Although the others Bitcoin chart is starting to level off. So in conclusion, the wealth cycle strategy would suggest that altcoin season should be beginning any day now. And altcoins should be outperforming through most, if not all, of 2025. Only time will tell if all this is just a huge load of crap. So I hope that helps. Let us know in the comments what you like to use to gauge altcoin season. What are we missing here, if anything? And give the video a like if you want me to keep doing this. Otherwise, I will go find another hobby. Truth is, I already have way too many hobbies. Anyway, this has been Wes-tone here, and we'll see you in the next video.